And I think some more. All right, Jeff Z just sent me a text though. All right, we got the camera. Is that? Let's try moving it.
Camera's good.
I got
Just
my.
give it 1
There we
minute
go.
so it can start on YouTube, and you'll
And
be good.
I think some more. All right, Jeff Z just sent me a text though. All right, we got
I hear myself on YouTube. Can you mute the YouTube, please?
Yep, 1 second.
Oh my God. Hello, Sue.
You're all good.
Dennis sent me a text. He said he became a millionaire overnight and quit his job. No, I'm kidding. He sent me a text. $602, Chewy, Cliff, Tesla, Verizon, all the goodies, financials. All right, but let's read the deck before they yell at me. And then obviously I got dressed up for the event. I didn't have time to shower.
Fanciest thing I've ever seen you wear.
Oh, and the camera's moving because maybe I should sit down on the desk. All right. It's hot here in Florida. All right, let's go over the education part. This will take 5-10 minutes. And then that's it. All right. Starting 3 p.m. It's 3. All right. I am him. Who is Lance? That is me. Great. All right. What is an option? If you're new here, listen up. I think we have an option course or something we're doing soon. Options are a contract that gives you, the owner, the right to buy or sell an asset at a fixed price. That's referring to the strike for a specific time period. That's the expiration. That could be as short as a day, or let's say it's July 19th. Well, you got, a few days. August, you got a little bit over a month. What is the stock? Partial ownership of a company, shares, equity. You might have heard some other names. Cons and pros. Options allow investor to leverage returns with less capital. For example, let's say an option is 80 cents. That's $80 a contract. Stock, let's say the stock was $50 per share. You have to spend $50 a share, 10 shares, $500, 1,000 shares, 5,000. You get the picture. Options provide exposure to stock market returns. You also have factors, direction, the time, volatility. We will only be looking at buying calls and put options. That would be a net debit. No option selling. We're not doing any income. We're not doing any iron condors. We're not selling puts and doing naked stuff. Nothing like that. Buy and call option, if it's bullish, that gives you the right but not the obligation to buy a specific stock at the share price within the time period. For example, let's say you buy Chewy, July, 25 calls, and Chewy expires, let's say in July, which is July 19th, at 28. You would have your shares of stock from 25. Your gains are unlimited because stocks technically can go up forever. Put options give you the right, but not the obligation to sell specific stock at the share price, basically inverse of a call. Puts, you want the stock to go down when you buy puts. Calls, you want the stock to go up. Short positions, I don't want to say don't look at them, but we ain't doing no short options. Short options require leverage, like level 3 approval, which no one should be selling short options ever. I mean, if you're doing a spread, that's okay, but never go a short option or naked, as they call it. Long options have fixed risks, which we want, and it allows you to capture the increase in value of a stock. Hopefully, good. All right, 2 more minutes. Option traders use derivatives to gain long or short exposure. Call options increase as the price goes up. To put it simple, there's other factors, but we'll keep it easy. Put options increase when the stock goes down. Remember, a derivative is simply a security that derived from the price from another security, blah, blah, blah. Look, a picture. Basically, when you buy a call, you have fixed risk. Let's say I buy a call for $1. It's $100 of risk. If it goes over the price of the call plus the strike price, the stock is over it, it will go up. Technically, till forever. The stock keeps going up. A short call, don't do. Unless you're owning shares of stock doing a cover call, that's a different story. Put option, if the stock goes down, it makes money. Yay. Short put, don't do. Pretty simple, huh? All right. If we think Microsoft is going to increase, you could buy shares of stock, buy a call option. Each call represents 100 shares of stock. Or you could go short put. We're not going to do that. So let's say Microsoft, I think it's going to go up. I could buy calls or I could buy stock. Remember, each option, one contract, represents 100 shares of stock. All right. Yay. If you think Microsoft is going to decrease, you could go short 100 shares, or what we call you could short Microsoft. Well, simple. Where you borrow shares against the broker, or you could just buy a put option. So same as calls, one put equals 100 shares of stock. Don't go short a call unless you're doing a bear call spread. Just don't. Option ladder. Well, one more minute, gang. If we pull up the option chain, like here, this will give us the expirations. It will give us the ticker. If you want to buy the stock, you can. If you want to buy an option, you buy on the ask. Try to get filled maybe mid-market though, unless they're penny-wide options. Penny-wide options would be like the S&P, AMD, stuff like that, to where the option liquidity is very, very tight. They're about, you see about 5 cents wide for AMD. The tighter, the better. The call side is to the left. The put side's to the right, depending on your broker platform. The strike price is, I like to use at the money or slightly out the money options. Keep it simple. All right, skill test. How much does one cost? Well, we know that each option contract represents 100 shares of stock. Yay. Account types. How many slides is this, Deanna? Is this it? All right, 2 more slides.
I feel like one more slide.
All right. Pattern day trader. I don't think anyone should be trading on margin, so you shouldn't have any pattern day trade stuff, only if you're doing spreads. But if you use a cash account, you can have less than 25K in your account and have unlimited trades. Cash account allows you to buy stock, allows you to buy calls and puts. You cannot short stock in a cash account. That's the only bad thing. But cash account, unlimited trades. You could day trade, you could do whatever you want. But even with the options, cash account, that gives you could buy calls, you could buy puts, and obviously you could buy stock. If you're on margin with less than 25K, you do have the pattern day trade rule, which sucks. If you have over 25K, congrats, you made it, you're rich, go buy a Porsche. No. If you have over 25K in account, you don't have to worry about any of the pattern day trade. Yee. Rules to know. Level 1 gives you the ability to buy calls and puts. I would say that's the minimum, and really all you need is level 1. Margin, unless you've been doing this for like 5-10 years, don't use it. It will get you in trouble, or it can. Never sell naked options. So that's my education point. All right. Yay. Good to go.
Yeah, good. I think it's 6 minutes. Good job.
All right. Let's get to the tape, shall we? Whew. What did y'all think of the education? Learn a lot? Learn nothing? If you are new, maybe we'll get it out. I think Deanna said free. Hopefully, stuff like that. We'll do it. There'll be like the slides where you can get, and it will be slower and more stuff like that. And then real quick, Sean's writing this thing about Bill Gross. Who does Bill Gross look like? Does anyone, who does Bill Gross look like who's been hating on Chewy and Tesla?
See, I was thinking, what's the Scrooge duck? like from Disney. He looks like that. McScrooge or whatever his name is.
He does. He really does. But Bill Gross is a donkey. And thank you. The more shorts come into stock, the more it can go up. All right. But let's get to some of the flow today, shall we? Michael Douglas. Ooh, wow. I would probably say that's the Godolph. If you have a cash account, there's no 25K pattern day trade rule. So if you have a cash account, you don't have to worry about the pattern day trade rule. All right. Oh, we have to do a scratch off. Deanna, if you guys have questions, it could be about anything. Put it in the chat and we'll get to it. But in the meantime, she'll gather all the questions. If you have any questions, if it's flow, whatever it could be. I like that EA order, by the way. Forgot to mention that when we got on. That EA order, did they tighten them at all? I think that EA order, it gets earnings. So really anything after August 2nd in EA, I like. So maybe if you don't want to take it today, write that one down. EA, they have earnings 7/30. So July 30th. So that August 2nd expiration captures the earnings. They're a video game stock. So we're going to do a scratch off before we start trading because we need to get lucky. And we need to see how much we're going to bet on our earnings trades. David says Pep and Delta. Yeah, we'll look into them. We'll look into both of them. We'll look into those two. All right, but let's get to the scratch off. Look at Cliff getting a little Cliff here. Whatever we win, we'll put on earnings. So if we win $5, we'll put $500, $10, $1,000. I think we have Delta and Pepsi today. Let me just get a complete list right here. But we got to do our mandatory scratch off, right? We got to get our mandatory scratch off to WDFC. What is this stock that just hit? Let's look at this one. WDFC. Oh, it's WD-40. Oh my, they have earnings. Oh my. Well, speaking of earnings, WD-40 has earnings with the July 210 put buyer. Ooh, wee. The chart is sloppy, we'll say. It's had a big gap up, a big gap down. Not the best chart. The market makers are implying a $21 move in WDFC. That's WD-40. The 210 puts are 660 by 740. Oh gosh, you could drive a semi truck through that. You need some grease. Tighten that bid ask. Oh, wow. I have never seen WD-40 puts. I am not going to lie. Let's just make sure, because these options are wide. So I just want to make sure they're tradable. Let's pull out a blank chart here, pull them up. 680-ish. I don't know. What do y'all think of WD-40? I've never, ever have seen it. It's only traded 138,000 shares. Eef. I'm just worried if you do get in, how are you going to get out? You know, that's the only problem. SEDJ, man, I don't have time to do the scratch off. Solar Edge. Ooh, this stock just got crushed lately. Ooh, I kind of like bottom fishing here in Solar Edge. SEDG. This is the worst stock probably in the world. It got cut in half. But I kind of like it because the chart's so bad. But it's kind of weird. The stock is up 8%. The calls are only up 100%. That's it. That's kind of weak. You buy calls and the stock's up 8%. You want your calls to be up 200-300%. You know? All right, let's do the scratch off. I like SEDJ better than WD-40, to be honest. WD-40 is a do or die. Obviously, if they miss earnings, it'll be good. Stuff like that. All right, but let's get to the scratch off. Then we'll put our bets on. Obviously, the scratch off will persuade me a little bit more. All right, should we hold the camera so y'all can see the scratch off? Let's see if we can. Uh-oh, got too many cords. Oh no, we might not be able. All right, let's get the scratch off and then we'll see how much we can potentially risk. If you've never been to a live trading event, this is how we've been starting, is by doing the scratch offs. We've been winning too. So we didn't get our bonus prize. Are we getting our millionaire maker? I'm trying to hold the camera and scratch. Might need to use a pen. We didn't win a million. 25, 17, 8, and 10. 25, 8, 17, and 10. Let's get going. So far, no winners. We got 4 more numbers. We have bad news. We didn't win. All right. Well, we didn't win, but we'll still put some trades on. All right. Shall we go with Pepsi first? SEDG, 2,000 contracts. It's a solar stock, right? All right, let's stick with earnings. Then we'll maybe go to the solar stocks. I do like that SEDG better than WD-40, just a little bit. All right, but let's get to earnings, shall we? The first name I want to look at is, and if you ever want to see what names have earnings, I'll give you a little quick way to find out. I like going to FinViz. Oh, Pep, we now have a put hit. Uh-oh. Oh, look, I'm on FinViz. Wow. Let's go to the screener, earnings. Let's go to today after the market close. You see WD-40's up there. So let's go to tomorrow before the open. And we have Delta, Conagra, Pepsi, and that's pretty much it. Conagra, food stock, Pepsi, food and beverage stock, and then Delta, the airliner. All right, but let's see if we have any flow for Pep. We do have some out the money puts hitting, but we had some July 162.5 calls hit too the other day. So what I like to do is find out who laid down more size. So this is 125K. Not a ton of money for Pep, but something. And this is about 102K for Pep. Let's look at the chart, shall we? So I'm leaning slightly bullish in Pep just because of the higher dollar amount. But let's still look at the chart, shall we? Then we'll do Delta next. The chart in Pep, I like using a daily chart. It's horrible, to say the least. Wow. Pepsi last quarter, slight gap up, very mixed. Previous quarter gap down. This quarter, slight gap up. This quarter, no move. So I'm going to assume we're going to have a very small implied move in Pep. So we want cheap options if we're going to trade it, whether it be right or wrong. I don't think Pep's going to have a pretty big move. We do have an earnings indicator that's free if you want to use. Deanna, can you give them the link to the earnings indicator if they want?
Yep.
It's free. So Shalom says yes. Correct. Exactly right. We have puts today, out the money puts, and we had the July 162.5 calls on July 8th. So first of all, and you might be saying, well, there's puts. I always want to favor the in the money options. So the 162.5 puts are in the money. In the money options are usually more of a stock. They replicate a stock more. So I always want to favor in the money options. Out the money options, especially in puts, could be a hedge. For example, let's say I own shares of PEP stock at 161 or 163. Maybe I'm only comfortable and I want some insurance if PEP goes below 160. So I'll buy the puts. Remember, most folks, most hedge funds, most investment funds are long stock. So therefore, they'll buy puts near an earnings event or an unknown event as a hedge. Think of it, you have a beach house, a hurricane's coming. What are you going to do? You're going to make sure you have flood insurance, you have home insurance, right? So that's what puts, I don't want to say all the time, but out the money puts are usually a little bit more of a hedge. So the bullish price target is 169, bearish is 157. So I'm going to assume the options, that's what, a $6 move. The 162.5 put should be right around $3. Shall we take a look and see? SEDG on the highs now. Wow, Lance. The 162.5 puts are about 320. How did you know? Oh, psychic, no. So we have lots of flow in PEP and the out the money options. Obviously, you're always going to have that around an earnings event. 100,000 options. So we have a whole lot of options today. Not much in terms of lots of spreads and PEP. So I don't want to give this a huge rating. I'm leaning about 60-40 long. Nothing to really move the needle, so to speak. So I'll put on maybe a one lot. Let's just get some action to get going. So we'll do something small today. Let's just do a one lot of the 165 calls. So $200 of risk. Let's build some repetition. We got 35 minutes left. Let's just get some momentum going. We'll just do a contract of the, pardon me, I did the wrong option. The 162.5 call. It's about $320. Just going to do the same trade that that hit the scanner. Actually, I did the weekly. So we'll put that in the chat. Above ask means they paid over the asking price. So one lot, very, very small. Usually I like risking 500, $1,000. So one lot of the PEP, July 12th, 162.5 call. So what is my max loss? $320, right? So very, very, very small, not like a big trade or anything, just trying to build some reps before we get to the trading out there. Anytime it's earnings, I like to go pretty small. So not a whole lot of confidence on this. I give it maybe a 6 out of 10, but want some action. You know what I mean? I want to participate a little bit. We're about to get into earnings season, right? We gotta get some kind of love going, right? Ooh, look at Cleveland Cliff starting to make a little bit of a move, up a whopping 1%. Calls are up about 8%. All right, let's go back to let's go to Delta now, shall we? Let's go to Delta. We got Delta earnings. Just try to get some momentum going. All right, Delta. Let's look at the flow in Delta. And then we'll see if any big swing trades going. Also, to that WD-40. The only bad thing about that one too, well, two things. The options are wide, but you're going to be spending like $700 a contract. That's expensive. And that's do or nothing, right? If WD-40 goes up or stays flat, you lose your full $700. If Pepsi goes down on earnings, the max I can lose is $300. So no harm, no foul. Delta, we did have. Ooh. Delta, we did have yesterday a buyer of the July 12th 45 puts. So just like in the example of Pep, some out the money puts. So I don't love out the money puts. Again, the stock is about $47. So they're about $2 out the money. So I don't love out the money puts, but it's about 440 grand. So that's a decent chunk of money in Delta. The bearish price target is 43.5, bullish about 50.25. What do y'all think of Delta? I'm about 50-50 on it. You know, I'm always cautious of puts. You buy puts, you go to jail. I know that's the saying I've made, but it is a nice chunk of change. You know, 440 grand is it's a good amount of money out there. Decent amount of money. The arrows for the earnings indicator, they don't mean anything. It's just an old program, hence why it's free. I made it like 5-6 years ago. Basically, it just calculates the market maker's move. Nothing directional. But do we have any gaps in Delta earnings, though, in the past? Let's pull up Delta here. Let's see if Delta is a gapper. Last quarter, flat. This quarter, big gap down. Big gap down. So it's not really a big mover, to be fair. You know, it's really not. So Delta, all we had was yesterday some 45 puts. I don't love it. Not at all. I'm trying to think if we saw any flow in any other airliners. UAL, nothing. AAL, nothing. What's another airliner? JetBlue? Nothing. Ugh. Yeah. Delta has traded, what, 100,000 options? 180,000 options? Wow. All spreads, too. Probably going to avoid Delta for now, unless something major hits. I just don't like the way it doesn't really have any history of moving. And stock's kind of just left for dead. You know, that's the only thing. It's a big stock in terms of volume and just nothing really giving me, nothing really fancying me. Save. Yeah, well, Save is going bankrupt, I think. But yeah, nothing in the airliners recently. Maybe it kicks up the airliners, but not much. You know what trade I liked that doesn't show up much? Match.com. Match.com. A buyer of the August 2nd. You don't see this one often either. Match.com. The August 2nd. 31 calls. So I want to find out, when does Snowflake, February, too far away? When does Match.com have earnings? Looks to be August 1st. That seem right? Usually you can tell when a stock has earnings because the volatility increases. So we go from July 26th at 45 to August 2nd at 52. So I'm going to safely assume August 2nd gets the earnings event. You could go to August 2nd, or you could always, if you want to be safe, better to be safe than sorry, kids. You can always just go to the monthly option. But I do like this trade in Match.com. So they bought the 31 calls above the ask. Are they looking for love, you might ask? Maybe. They could be. But let's look at these calls in Match.com, because these will set up for an earnings event. So these are very, very wide. Oh, Lord. They're 121 by 171. Heck no. Why don't we just go to regular August? Yeah. You just go regular to August. So I actually like this in match.com. I want to find love in the earnings. So I'm going to take a trade in this one. It's not a big trade. You may be saying, well, Lance, we've seen $1 million orders, $400,000 orders. Why are you looking at 112,000? That's a very good point. Because match.com, if you look at the relative option volume, it's only traded 8,700 options today. Okay. That one trader for the August 2nd, 31 calls made up about 1,000 contracts, 900 contracts. So they made up over 10% of the total option volume. That's control. So they're controlling a pretty good amount of stock in match.com. So let's go ahead and take a trade and match. Well, you get exposure to the upside and you get a possible earnings event in there. I'm just going to go do the August monthlies. Maybe you can do the, let's say the 30 calls, maybe at 240. That was easy. Well, there goes Mr. Cleveland Cliff. So a swing trade that gets earnings. And just so you guys can see, the risk allocation is about $2,400 compared to $300 on a weekly option that gets earnings in Pepsi. So August 16th, 30 strike calls. So we always want to have proper risk management, even though I love to gamble. I'll gamble small. The swing trades, because these won't be that sensitive, right? Because they have lots of time going to August. You can risk more capital, right? Than an earnings or a weekly option that's going to move like this, right? Because if Pepsi goes down on earnings, I lose $320. If match.com goes down 1-2% tomorrow, I might be down $200, right? And I still have time. I still get a catalyst in earnings, so I could risk more size. Cleveland Cliff is doing very well. We love Cleveland. The Cleveland show from yesterday, it's only up 9%, but still good. Nothing fancy though. But want to get some reps in still until we see that real big order, right? XLF, Daniel asked, we did a trade today in the XLF and the call options. But yeah, I already did a trade in the XLF for the short dated options that expire next week, because you get the earnings events in there. So I'm already set up for the banks. But I did see, was it Wells Fargo today? Thought I saw a bank hit today. Or am I tripping? Did a bank hit today, or am I just losing my mind? I thought I saw a bank option hit today. I thought it was Wells Fargo. Or am I just pulling a Biden? And I can't remember if I watched the debate, even though I was in it. Did Wells Fargo hit? Ah, there it is. Okay. Woo. I thought the doctor was going to have to come to the White House. Okay, I'll stop. All right, Wells Fargo. Yeah, this was a decent order. That's why too, I like the banks as well. Wells Fargo is what, Friday? Yeah, Friday. So let's see in the chat. Why? And you don't have to look at the chart or anything like that if you don't want to. But why does this Wells Fargo order kind of stick out? Then we'll look at this GXO. What the hell is this? GXO Logistics. It's only traded 300,000 shares. Wow. Gang, that's a big bet. It's traded 300,000, 5,000 options now. I'm going to try to buy these in GXO. This is the whole option market is this trade. It's only traded 5,000 options. This whole trader is the GXO trader. The GXO August 50 calls. So here's why I love it. GXO August 50 calls. This whole trader, think about this. 5,000 options represents 500,000 shares of stock. It's only traded 340,000 shares of stock today. If you look at the options, I don't even know what GXO is. Logistics, heck if I know. It's only traded 5,258 options today. This whole trader is making up the market in GXO. This whole trader is the options market. GXO, I don't know what the hell it is. Logistics and industrial logistics. How if I know? Let's go on the website. So this is orders I love. 175 grand. Never seen the stock before. Ever. But the trader's making up almost double the stock volume today and is controlling the whole entire option volume. I don't know what it is, nor do I care to learn, but GXO, I like it. That is a very unusual bet. And here's what I mean by that. It's traded 342,000 shares of stock. The 5,000 contracts in the options market represents 500,000 shares of stock. That's 150K more than the total stock volume. If you look at the option volume today, and under the option stats, which is tells you, it's only traded 180 puts. This trader has made up, the one trade alone was 3,571 contracts. It was about 5,000 total as we saw the volume. So basically this whole trader is the whole option market. So if they sell their position, the stock's going to go down. But if we look at probably volatility in these, I bet you volatility spiked. Let's pull it up here. What is it? GXO? Here we go. And look at volatility. That one trader, very similar to what I've been saying on Telegram with the Chewy. This one trader, the implied volatility is up 5 points just from, and look at the volume spike in the stock, just from this order. So stuff like this is very unusual. And I love anything unusual. Could it not work? Could it go to zero? Sure. You know, the stock does not have a great chart. I mean, it's a horrible chart, right? Horrible. Horrendous. But it still sticks out like a sore thumb. So anything that sticks out like a sore thumb, maybe it has news, maybe it's a merger, maybe it's an upgrade. I don't know. I'd have to, do all my research. But stuff like this, end of the day, I'm going to take advantage of every day of the week because it's just so odd. And look, you can look at the stock volume here, just from when the order came in, right? That's a big move for a stock that does not trade much volume. So I don't know if anyone, earnings on 8.6, earnings on 8.1. So basically, David and David D both mentioned that it does get the next earnings event. Does the stock move on earnings? $3 there. Couple bucks here. Barely any here. I mean, it's not a gapper, as we say. It's not a big gapper, but heck, sounds good to me. So did that one, what, 20 lot? So what, about $2,700 of risk or so? Nothing crazy. So like at that, like to give you an example of the trade, for something like this, I just want news. I don't know what it could be. merger, acquisition, earnings, upgrade. I'm going to stay in the position until there's news. So I'm going to just create some alerts. Let's say the stock does nothing for the next week. You know what I'll do? Let's say they go down to $1. I'll add, if this 5,000 volume is an open interest. So as long as these 5,000 contracts stay in open interest for August 50 strike calls, I will hold the position because I know I have outs, and the earnings event gives me outs. And that's one thing in trading you always want. You always want outs. Something that can, if you get in a hole, can get you out the hole. For example, we're playing cards. You got pocket aces, the best hand. I got Jack 10 of hearts. You're a 70% favorite. But the flop is 10, 9, 8 of 2 hearts. So now I could get a 10, a jack, maybe I get a 7, or I get a heart and I beat your 2 aces. So I have outs if it goes against me. Let's say the market crashes tomorrow or next week. I know I still have the earnings event if these calls are still in open interest. I know the trader who bought these calls, who spent $175,000 on them, is looking forward to possibly that earnings event. If they close them, I'll close them. You know, let's say they go up to $2, maybe I'll sell some. Maybe I'll sell half at $2 or so. But I want that catalyst, which is the earnings, in there. Use a good till cancel order so we don't have to monitor it. But that's the kind of stuff that I really like. Odd stock, never heard of it. Taking up so much of the volume, basically controlling the whole option volume today. Very weird, very unusual. Just it sticks out like a sore thumb. And that's it. Match.com, kind of same category. Weird stock. You know, online dating. It's not like a normal stock people look at. We'll put some at $3 from 240. But again, you got the earnings upcoming. So I like to get in now. Maybe you get the rise in the stock, the rise in implied volatility, but you also have outs in the earnings upcoming, right? And just to give y'all, again, just for position size reference, that's why that EA position I liked, because you get the earnings. But again, and I just want to make it very, very clear, because you know I love my scratch offs and earnings and stuff. But to give you an idea on position size and management, you know, I did 20 contracts in match, 20 contracts in the Xxxxxxxxxx, 1 contract in PEP. So if you look at my liquidity, you know, it's 3,000 in GXO, match 2,400, Pepsi, you know, what is it? $300, $320 or so, right? Pepsi, $330. So if I lose in PEP, I lose $300. That's it. Obviously, in GXO or match, if they go to 0, it's not going to happen overnight unless something major happens, right? But my P&L is not going to fluctuate as much as PEP, where I'm doing basically a binary event. Basically, it's like this. It's a decent probability scratch off. You know, I'm hoping to double my money, maybe make $300, or I lose $300. Just like you spend $5 on a scratch off, you hope to win $10, right? Or you don't win, you wasted $5. Everyone get that? Good. GXO is the August 50. August 50s. I like that EA position. I wish I would have bought more. I only did a 3 lot because I was like, bad liquidity, but they tighten up a little bit. But sometimes I wish it would have done bigger. Bigger is better. Cliff is just cliffing. I mean, I hate to 107. They're up what? 10%. We want more. Maybe we'll put some at 130 if we get tagged. But I always like to have profit targets out. That's usually what I do when nothing's going on in the markets. Just make sure I have all my working orders set in case, in case we get there, basically. Look at Chewy go. Wow. You always want to have working orders. NVIDIA, long dated bet. Man, I had, and I feel like a donkey for this. I bought NVIDIA calls the other day when they had that $2 million bet, the 128 calls. And I made like $50 on them and I closed them. And now they're what? Up a gazillion bucks. So I felt like a donkey. I mean, what are they now? $7? Oh God. Oh no, Lord. I sold them way too early. But the chips just keep going up. AMD's another one. Is that what is that AVGO earnings? Is that or not earnings, the split? Is that today?
Friday.
Y'all want to laugh? And don't tell Nathan because he'll probably yell at me. But look at this. Y'all want to laugh? So obviously, okay, look at this. Look at my mail I got. So I got, again, I think I'm an independent contractor, but I was dying laughing. I saw this. Jeffrey sends, and obviously it's, I don't know if Jeffrey writes this stuff. I don't. Jeffrey sends, ignore AVGO. And then a couple minutes before that, I get Roger and Jack saying, Avgo stock split summit. Join Jack for Avgo stock split. So I go, do I ignore AVGO or do I not? I'm kidding, by the way. But I was laughing when I saw that in my email. And then I got WWEshop.com to buy your wrestling shirts. Anyhow. Don't tell Nathan. Oh, God. All right, Deanna, what questions did we have in the chat that I probably fell off the bandwagon and missed?
Yeah, Nate's in Germany, so he's not going to see this.
Ah.
I don't see anything. I mostly just see people asking about stocks that they really like. There's no big question.
Well, I would take that as a good thing. Amazon about to hit 200 here.
Ooh, can you explain volume versus IO?
So volume is the number of contracts that have traded today. So for example, we'll go back to that GXO example. So volume is the number of contracts that have traded today. So to give you an example, the trader bought 5,000 contracts. Open interest tomorrow, if all those trades stuck, meaning they didn't trade in and out, open interest would there be what it is today plus volume. So open interest tomorrow in GXO should be around 5,900. That way you can tell if the trader is holding them. Let's say though, in a stock, and this is where it gets harder, in a stock like maybe NVIDIA, right? Because you're seeing some August 132 calls here. NVIDIA trades thousands of options a day, hundreds of thousands, millions of options a day. But let's say a trader bought 5,000 NVIDIA calls. Open interest is already 5,000. So if all these calls were bought, they should be reflected in open interest. So it should be about 10,000 tomorrow. But since you have folks trade in and out of these calls, maybe someone bought 1,000 calls and then sold 1,000 calls. So volume would reflect 2,000 on the day. But since not all those calls stuck because they got in and out, open interest would be hunched. So it's harder to tell on the big stocks, open interest, but open interest is the number of contracts that have traded previously that are still holding. Volumes and number of contracts that are traded that day. They could be bought or they could be sold. So it's a little bit harder in the big stocks because they do trade so much option volume that it's hard to know concrete direction in them. When you can find an odd stock with a big order, then you can really single out that one trader, because if they close out the position, volume would usually be that day when they close it out, very, very similar to open interest. And then the next day, open interest, it would be subtracted from it. So let's say in that GXO position, let's just say 5,000 of these calls were bought today. So open interest would be, let's just say 5,000. Let's say all 5,759 were bought. So 5,700, open interest is 210. So open interest or should be 5,910 tomorrow. But let's say a few days go by and you see volume at 5,000. Maybe that trader sold or closed their position. So then the following day, that would be 5,000 minus 5,910. Open interest might only be 910. Then you know that trader is out the position. They closed out the position. So when you see volume basically the same as open interest, most of the time the trader closed their position. But if you see it like that in a big stock that has tons of volume, tons of open interest, you don't have to look too much into it because they trade so many contracts per day that it's not going to be a very big influencer, so to speak, in them. What did I buy XLF in? Oh, wow. You know, XLF calls are up 25%. Jeez. I wish I bought more. God dang. Wow. Well, if you're in XLF calls, I'm holding. I want big home runs. Every time I say that, I get my butt kicked, but it's true. Let me message Scott though. That's a nice.
We'll get it. What do you think? Get out at the open tomorrow, Lance? Because it's like 5 minutes to go.
I know there's only 5 minutes left. I mean, you close it though, you don't get any exposure to banks. So I say risk it for the biscuit.
Are you sure? Because I can send it out right now.
The banks are Friday, right? Oh yeah, going back to the banks. That's what before I got distracted. That Wells Fargo order, the reason why I liked it is because they're in the money calls. So the 58 calls, they're $1.58 in the money. So that's why I like this order. Volume greater than open interest, indicating it's a brand new position. That's another indication. It's a brand new position being open. So therefore, if 3,000 of these calls were bought in Wells Fargo, open interest should be right around 3,500 tomorrow to know that they stuck. Usually when you have in the money calls, it's more of a stock replicating a stock move. And since Wells Fargo has earnings, the implied move is actually pretty big for Wells Fargo, about $2.25. It's a pretty big move for a bank. Wells Fargo is though usually the most volatile bank though out there. AFCO calls here. If I was a millionaire, I would take them, or a gazillionaire, I should say. I'm not taking them. Too pricey. Oh, match just reversed on me. Oh no, match. Match just took a leg down. Avgo, the 1,800 calls. Did everything take a leg down here? Avgo did too. I would not trade these unless I was a bazillionaire, Dan Bilzerian there, who lasted 2 hands in the World Series of Poker. They're $8.50. You need a $58 move for these calls to close in the money. No, thank you. No, sir. No, ma'am.
You have a question about, can you explain time decay and how to avoid it?
You can avoid time decay by, I would say go out in time, but I don't like to. By buying closer to the money or at the money options. That would probably be the best thing I would say about time decay. So like, let's say the stock is $50, maybe do no more than the 50 calls, maybe the 45, 48, 49, 50 calls. But if time decay is bothering you, buy more time or get a strike closer to the money. Cleveland Cliffies. What did I buy? Oh yeah, I did a Pfizer too. All righty. What is a ConAgra? I did a whopping 5 lot in it earlier and I forgot. ConAgra Foods. Wow. Stock is going down. The calls are going up. Another earnings. That didn't see anything, did it? No. Exxon highs. Exxon Mobil. People love their oil. So do I. Exxon calls, I don't know if they're moving yet, but they had that July 114 call by a few days ago. I remembered. Where, what stock? Oh, GXO. That's it. I got to write these down. I'm losing my memory with everyone today. All right, we got 2 minutes. Man, God, where did all the time go? Where did all the time go? Pepsi. Damn, why didn't I buy them big? Pepsi calls are up nicely. Well, if you want to make a few bucks and not risk the earnings, but that's the one I should have bought big with. No. What about trailing stops? No. I'm not a big stop loss fan. If you're buying cheap options, you don't have to worry about stops because whatever your initial investment is, you could just risk it for the biscuit. If you're buying, I would say options over $5, then I do think it's smart to use a stop loss. But if you're buying cheap options, $1, $2, they're going to move so much. Like I had Chewy calls and I bought them and they were down 60 cents. And, now they're 170. So they tripled in 3 days. If I would use a stop loss, I would have been very angry of the move. So I'm just not a fan of stop losses on cheap options. You're trading expensive options, sure. Go ahead and, use that with proper risk management. But cheap options, I don't put more than I'm willing to lose. So let's say this GXO or Match.com. Let's say the stock goes down 20% tomorrow. Match.com gets shut down because, I don't know, they found, I don't know, all the people have their dating profiles exposed. Wasn't that the other website? That was a Netflix show. What was it? The adult one?
Ashley Madison.
Yeah, Ashley Madison. Let's say that happens to Match.com. They say, Lance, I saw your dating profile. You messaged Kim Kardashian on Match.com. And she said, you got a big nose. And I said, you're poor. And she said, I'm blocking you. And it got exposed and the stock was down 20% tomorrow. I know my max loss is going to be what I paid for the option. And that's it. And since they were, how much were they? $3. I mean, that's kind of expensive for me. $2, $2.40. I'm not going to, cry boo-boo over it. If I bought, let's say, these Avgo calls and spent $790 on them, $790 a contract that expire in 2 days, that's just that's just unnecessary risk, in my opinion. Not risk I want to take. Now, if AV goes up $100 tomorrow and the calls go up 8x in value, yeah, I'll be butthurt and cry and why didn't I buy them? But that's the trade-off with. Oh, you took those Microsoft options? Gosh darn it! That's what I forgot to look. That big Microsoft $1 million order. Yeah, the July, they doubled in value. They're up 100. Wait, these rallied 100%? Oh my God. I looked at these and then I had my gate guy come. So I had to go outside and let him in and talk to him. And I forgot to get back to him. Did they really go up that much? Oh, if they did, I'm going to cry. Oh, they didn't go up that much. 480 to about 530. Oh, okay. Still a big order. Very big order. XLF. Well, so XLF, you get, all the bank earnings. So it's a way to play the banks by doing it cheaper. I mean, when I saw how cheap the XLF options were, I mean, you're basically paying for what, 20, 30 cents? That's it. With the stock at almost 42, the 41.5 calls are 70 cents. I mean, I just thought like, man, you get a 0.5% move in the XLF, they're going to move those calls. So you get Goldman Sachs, it's better than buying Goldman Sachs options where you're going to be spending what? $10, $12, $7. So I just thought it was a cheap bank alternative to get all the earnings leading up into Friday, and you still have next week too. Morgan Stanley and Bank of America and other banks. Do I do crypto? No, thank God. If I would have been one of the crypto guys, and I have no skin in the game in crypto, so I have no room to talk, but I would have been one of the guys who bought the Bitcoin up here and then did one of these sad faces down below. I will say, I know a guy who lost lots of money in the cryptos, specifically the Muras, the miners. And I don't know, it's just not for me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm just not that guy. I do like the gold miners though, and silver. But even though I'm like the profile cryptoer, I just don't get it. So I don't touch it, if you know what I mean. But it probably would have been a good investment if I did it way back in the day, but I can't go back in time. All right, let's see if we missed any questions. I'm sure we did 1,000. Good job, Rose, my dear. That is what we love, 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 love. And I apologize if I ignored the chat for a while, but you can tell I'm looking all over the place. Didn't mean to ignore anyone. Favorite time to hold? ASAP. A day? Would you place it more in the money? Karen, yes, and match. So in match, the in the money calls, they didn't give you a whole lot to work with the 30 and 32.5 for August. I'm assuming that's why this trader, and they actually tightened up a little bit. That's why the trader probably bought August 2nd expiration, because they're dollar wide options. They did tighten the market here, so you could always try to get in tomorrow. Or you just stick with the August monthlies. But since they do have the earnings event, and this is getting a little bit complicated, but usually the out the money calls ahead of an earnings event will rise more because of implied volatility. If the stock goes up, they'll have a greater mark-to-market count. So they'll rise more from a percentage point of view. The out the money calls leading up to the earnings event. Then obviously you need a big move in the stock post earnings. Match though, I don't know if the market makers just haven't put it on their radar, but I will say, I think these options are very, very cheap. Even the 32 and a halves. Because Match used to be a big mover on earnings. It had a huge gap down last quarter. Wow. Flat. Wow. Huge gap down. So it is a big mover. Big gap downs mean it can also gap up if good reports. So it can be a big earnings mover. You know, I got banned from Match.com. Sadly. Way back in the day.
Drop that?
Yeah, I just remember that. My friends used to make fun of me. I got banned from Match. And they knew, even when I tried rejoining, I guess they knew it was me. And I don't know why I got banned from Match.
Just because you're just too awesome or something.
I don't know why they banned me. So I couldn't find love on Match. No. Doesn't Facebook have a dating? Maybe
I think so. I don't know.
I think Facebook has a dating.
Yeah, but you have like scammers on Facebook of you.
Oh yeah, I'm not on Facebook. I don't have any social media except YouTube, by the way. Maybe that's why they banned me. They said, "Hey, he's got bot accounts." So, just a heads up. But
did you see there's a dating app just for traders?
Oh, the BITX 2 times leverage Bitcoin. Oh Lord. Any time you mess with the leverage stuff, it could be fun, but it can be risky too. I'll buy a 2 times leverage match.com. How about that? Farmers.com. Ooh-yee. I remember when MySpace was still a thing. Okay. All right, let me see what else we got. WDFC. Oh, did earnings come out? Let's see what happened to that. Illiquid piggy. Oh, good job avoiding it. Good. Good job avoiding it. Good job. The oil, well, it's not oil, I guess, grease. Those stocks are usually very difficult on earnings, but good. Good job avoiding WD40. Now I'm going to go spray the garage with it. A good job not taking it. Just too wide and quite frankly, too weird of a stock. But I'm curious to see what Delta does in the morning. Obviously, PEP. Delta, I'm no idea. I've heard so much mixed thing about the airliners, and I don't know. There's so much that can go wrong. They're so volatile. Carnival did have good earnings a little bit ago. Speaking of that, I'm trying to book a cruise. Someone told me to go with Virgin. Dennis, end of the day, $946. More than $600 from earlier. Or another $300 from earlier. I would have to look at that the NVIDIA. I mean, those at least doubled, if not tripled, those NVIDIA calls, I would think, Doc. Because the stock has been on a tear. I mean, it's the move in that, and even AMD has been just mind-blowing how fast and aggressive the moves have been. AMD especially, because AMD was left for dead. And now it's just, I mean, incredible. Incredible. Tesla finished up 90 cents, gave $5 off the high. A lot of stuff has been pretty volatile. Supermicro has been. They offered me a note. I think it was Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley, that they said 50% downside protection in Supermicro. The stock was literally like right around here, 900. So if it falls below 450, I'm on the hook and obviously can lose. I'm 1-to-1 with stock as a loss. But if as long as it stays above 450, so if it doesn't go down 50%, they're paying 30% a year on a structured note. I thought that was insane. So as long as the stock doesn't fall 50%, they pay 30% a year. If it goes up, you can only make the 30%. But that shows you how volatile that name is. Usually they'll do like SPX. If it falls more than like 30%, you're covered. But you only get like 7% return. But they did 50 or 30% on super micro. And that's I don't want to say it's a safe bet because I've had the names go against me. Like I had PayPal, or I still do. And PayPal was $150. Yeah, $150. And I was protected down to 75, and now it's 58. So I'm down like 28 grand in PayPal. And that one, I think it was like 20% return. Well, now it ain't a 0% return. It's a I'm gonna cry return. So yeah, still an XLF. Rat, is it? Let me look. I don't have after hours on that one. No, I don't think there's anything after hours. Vol really went crazy in it though. Let me look. Let me just see if there's any. I've never heard of it. 17 times usual volume. Well, that's a lot. Let me see if there's anything that I could find on the internet real quick on it while we're here. Let's use, I have no affiliation with the trade exchange, by the way. I pay them out of pocket, like 60, 70 bucks a month. Full disclosure. But let's see. They had their CEO buy 10,000 shares on June 14th. And that's good. Science, industry, multi-year, agility, robotics. That was June 27th. So that's old. Anything in the future? Maybe they have any upcoming, maybe analyst events, stuff like that. Any investor relations ordeals? August 6th. Y'all already mentioned earnings. But really just, I guess, the earnings date. Investor day, I don't know, something. Ooh. Ooh. That's 2001. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, yeah, so I guess just the earnings event. I was like, oh, Investor Day, 2021. Yeah, so I can't find anything. CEO buy stock, though? I bought 500,000 in stock on June 11th. With shares at 40, basically $1 lower. Oh, well, that's good. Malcolm Wilson, you better be right, sir. You better be right, good sir. Let's see if he's let's see if this guy's a good CEO. You know, I usually can tell. Does he like money? He goes on CNBC. Well, that's good. He goes on Bloomberg. All right, he seems like a a money hungry man to me. All right, well, do you have Botox, buddy? Oh, might be. He looks like he likes money. So that's good to know. If they go on TV, they usually look at their stock price. That's my analysis of it. it's totally non. I just try to think of in general. If I was a CEO, would I try to pump my stock on TV? Yes. Judith, what do you need? Yes, WD-40 came out. It's up $20. Very nice. Thankfully, didn't get the puts. Good job avoiding it. Just too wide, too illiquid. Try to avoid very wide options. Some stocks, there's nothing you can do. They just don't have a market for them. But, your names like Micron, Enphase, those are going to be very tight bid ask. But some stocks like maybe this PAR Pacific Holdings, Jan calls, they're 310 by 340. But, if they're more than like 15, 20% wide, you also have to think, how can I get out? And if they're very wide like that, you might have trouble. So just the very wide stuff, be a little careful on. Or, you can do stock on the cheaper names. Wow, these food stocks. Oh, CMG came back. Wow. Horrible. Some of the food stocks. McDonald's is up. Oh, look at McDonald's. Big old comeback. What about my Cracker Barrel? I got bailed out on that one, huh? Got lucky. UL, I'm getting lucky on too if it rallies another $1. But some stuff I was down pretty. Oh, BlackRock. Darn it, I missed that one. I wanted to go over that one. Poop. BlackRock had the weekly 820 calls. They have earnings Friday. That BlackRock had some calls. Very, very odd. You usually don't see BlackRock options, but they had earnings, or they have earnings Friday. They had some calls. Wow, they were pretty cheap. Oh, they have earnings next week. Well, speaking of banks, though, BlackRock's going to move the XLF and a cheaper alternative. Colgate had a nice call buyer, August 135s, CLX. That one's slow and steady. Oh my goodness, look at Colgate rally today. Yeah, that's a huge move for Colgate. Did anyone get the Colgate calls? That's a huge move. A $2 move in $3 move in Colgate is like a 5% move for NVIDIA or AMD. And they get earnings in Colgate. Wow. Colgate, let's say the market goes down, or Clorox, not Colgate. Yeah. Same staples, though. Let's say the market goes down, Colgate, Clorox, those stocks should hold up very, very well. People are going to need their bleach, their toothpaste, their clean supplies. Clorox. Yeah. But those stocks, there's no bid in those names recently because all the bids have been in the growth stocks. But if the market ever goes down, your staples are going to be up. The names that pay good dividends, the mac and cheese, the toothpaste, the bleach, the home cleaning, the toilet paper. Someone told me Costco's up. Wow, Costco ripping here. Oh my goodness. Costco higher following membership price in. Wow, Costco. It's going to be $1,000 stock. Look at Costco go. They were talking crap about Costco because it's the most expensive of the Target Walmarts. Well, it's expensive for a reason. Wow, the stock was up $40 at one point. Why was there no Costco calls? 4,000 of the weekly 910s. Did this trader sneak these in? I'd be sick if they did. I didn't see them. What do they buy them in 100 lots? This trader was buying these calls in 150 lots. I don't think anyone could have saw that coming though. Crook, who I wish I would have caught. Oh, you stayed in Costco calls, Patterson? Oh my goodness. You're gonna have a big day tomorrow. Wow. That's a huge move. Wow. That's gonna be huge. Huge day. All right. Let me end it there. If you have any questions, call. I think we have another one. When do we have a training?
Every Wednesday at 3 p.m.
And then tomorrow we got Tesla. I'm sure you'll get emails, texts, all that jazz. Friday, wiretap. I don't know if we have anything booked training wise before that.
No, we can if you want to, but I figured we'd just wait and watch the market.
LNTH. Oh my goodness. What? I need more eyes. Oh, are you kidding me? LNTH calls from yesterday? What? They bought the August 75 calls and the stock is up 36% today. You got to be kidding me. What? How much did they pay for them? $8. Now they're 30. About $8. I mean, still, it's huge, but I thought my gosh. What is this LT&H? Healthcare? Oh, well, I should have took note of that. Some of these weird stocks are the big movers. Man, don't you wish the trader would have bought like the 90 calls now or 80s? My gosh, they're up about 300%. Woo! Some of these people are nuts. It's running wild. Alcoa raises guidance. That should be good for the metals or the not metals, the aluminum. Hopefully that whole industry. So Cliff catches a bid. iPhone, did you get LNTH? Speaking of Costco, I need to go there. I just saw the match comment. Oh Lord, good job, 273%. Lovely, good hold too, because stock had a nice rally off the open. All right, I'm out. Next time I'll wear more clothes and probably shower because I didn't have time today. I didn't have time to eat. I got pad thai downstairs and I didn't even eat it. And now it's probably cold. All right. Thanks, everyone. Be on the lookout. Deanna will message, Telegram, all that jazz for all the stuff we need or you need. Call in if anything. Just don't complain. If you do, complain on Nathan. You can complain all you want. I don't know what else. But complain you want, sessions, anything. anything you heart desires. All right. I'm out.